Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Insightful Accountant webinar, Strategies for Complete Visibility Across Your Firm, sponsored by Intuit. Insightful Accountant is an online news and information source written for small business advisors interested in the latest news and offerings in accounting technology. My name is Emily Hedrick, and I'll be your webinar host. If you have any questions during the session, please enter them in the Q&A box, and we'll try to address them. Everyone that has registered will receive a follow-up email with the handout and recording later today. Today, our speakers are Clayton Crouch and Jeremy Herbel. Clayton received his Master of Business Administration from the University of North Texas. He is a product specialist who supports the sales team in the professional tax group while hosting webinars and product demos for Intuit's professional tax customer base. He is passionate about helping customers implement the right cloud-based solutions which allow them to grow and scale their business and power prosperity for their clients. Jeremy enjoys getting to put his passion for solving customer problems to work as a product manager with Intuit. His experience from marketing, finance, and services allow him to lead teams to build solutions that power prosperity for accountants and their clients. Jeremy lives outside of Dallas with his wife and 2 cats. Jeremy, Clayton, thank you both for being here with us today. And when you're ready, you can get started.
Thanks, Emily. Give me 1 second. I'll get my screen shared. And Jeremy, you give me the thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right. Thank you, Emily, for the introductions, and welcome everyone to our sessions. Hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving holiday and ate some good food and stayed safe. But today we are going to be talking about really improving visibility across your firm and leveraging technology to do so. So we are live here, so hopefully we have good internet connections and it's going to cooperate throughout on mine and Jeremy's side. But as a best practice, make sure that you shut down any applications running in the background so we can hopefully not sound like robots and be a smooth experience for everyone. So I know, Emily, you just did some introductions here, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Just want to give Jeremy a quick introduction for himself. But for me, I'm a certified pro advisor. I'm a product specialist. I support some sales teams here at Intuit. And like Emily mentioned, I'm most passionate about watching firms grow and scale their practice and leverage technology to do so and really be a part of that journey. I live in Dallas. I think everyone at Intuit's been working remotely since, I guess, mid-March, Jeremy, but I live with my beautiful Irish wife in Dallas, and I have a 1-year-old son. And Jeremy, go ahead and tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Clayton. So just in addition to kind of the intro Emily gave me, I've spent 15 years working in the finance and accounting software industry, and focused right now specifically on helping our partner accountants really kind of grow their business and be more efficient at what they do. I love working with customers and understanding what it is that they're facing. So what problems are they facing, what works well for them, what doesn't work well. I spend a lot of my time talking to customers to better understand them, and that's something I'm really passionate about. And as was mentioned, I live just outside of Dallas with my wife and 2 very rambunctious cats.
Thanks, Jeremy. So this webinar today, this session is going to be for really accountants or tax professionals, or maybe anyone who's preparing taxes or providing advisory services or is actually looking to do those. So we have a pretty decent sized agenda today, and first we're going to uncover some of the common challenges that firms are facing really around the topics that we'll be discussing, which is managing capacity around your entire team, making sure that things aren't falling through the cracks. We'll talk about email management and improving internal and external collaboration and communication with your team, with your clients, client management in general, and centralizing all of those communications, and having that single source of truth, one database, and the software that powers that and allows to solve for some of these challenges is actually Intuit Practice Management, which Jeremy and I work really closely with. So at the end of this, after we go through some concepts, we'll actually be showing some product at the end. And so let's start with the challenges. I think the biggest one, and this has been for, I mean, Intuit's got, tens of thousands of tax professionals using our software, and the common theme is firms are over capacity. They're stretched thin. The work is getting done, but they're at or over capacity, especially during the critical times of the year, which is coming up here in, I guess, about a month from now. But also maintaining and finding quality talent, and then really knowing when to hire. And jumping to the efficiency piece, a lot of firms know that they're not running as efficiently as they could be, but they're either not sure how to get that process started, or they don't have the capacity to do so and implement the appropriate change. And then as we jump to the second section, data being across multiple softwares, across multiple platforms, and it being somewhat difficult to maintain that and keep it up to date, and partially because there's a lack of integration between the softwares. And then lastly, technology is moving faster than it ever has. I think mid-March, it was a shock to all industries and hit our industry, the tax and accounting industry, pretty hard. But the fact is that technology is freeing up accountants from these older operational constraints, from traditional type workflows, from inefficient practices. And a lot of firms are struggling to keep it up to date. And Jeremy, I saw a stat the other day that it was about 25%, only 25% of firms actually feel confident in their ability to keep up with the technology. So really an area of opportunity for a lot of firms. And then we'll touch on, the challenges of email management and processes being too manual. And as we go a little bit deeper here, to show you some of those key observations or key findings, really data is being scattered. It's not really at the tax professional's fingertips. Email is overwhelming. It's siloed. People are working it as a to-do list. Firms have a lack of visibility into what their team is working on, what the departments are working on. Things continue to fall through the cracks. And then just maintaining and keeping track of the firm's relationships is difficult. So most all work in this industry is repetitive, it's recurring work. So just keeping track of that, it can be, and there's communications coming from all different places. It can get pretty chaotic. And then as your firm grows and you scale your practice, those challenges increase as well. So anything to add on the challenges piece, Jeremy?
No, I don't think so. It's just, it's one of those things that is pretty consistent across all the firms that we talk to and across the industry, where everyone seems to be hitting these right now. And so I think that it's a really great time to start looking at how we can actually address these challenges and remove some of the pain points that our accounts are seeing.
Yeah. And Jeremy, I'll let you, jump in and do the introduction, but talked about the software. You work directly with Intuit Practice Management and helped, launch and implement and put it in place. And then I work on the back end with it as well. So I'll let you do the, cover the next two slides on, kind of giving everyone here an insight into what that is.
Definitely, yeah. So on the screen there's actually a URL for a website with more information about Intuit Practice Management. And like Clayton said, we're actually going to be looking at the software a little bit today, but it's not going to be a full demo. So if you were interested in doing a full demo, you're welcome to head over there or just get more detailed information about the software, because we do have quite a bit of information on that website and it's a really good resource. But kind of with that, you can go to the next one, we can look at, what is Intuit Practice Management? Why is this important? And really, we focus on doing a few things. We're looking to centralize the contacts. This means all of your different client information, contact information, putting it in one place, making sure that when you update something there, it does propagate out to other systems, so that if you're in multiple places and multiple applications, those contacts are keeping consistent across all of their, and it's also bringing all of that communication with those contacts into one place. So you're able to communicate with your clients through Intuit Practice Management, as well as with your other team members. So there's a lot of really powerful internal collaboration that goes on there. So not just client communication, but internal communication as well. We also really look to automate the tasks. There's a lot of work that is very manual today, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. And it can be as simple as just starting something or moving something to the next person to let them know it's ready for them to do. All of those things add up. And so with something like Intuit Practice Management, you can really automate a lot of those low value, low level tasks to where you're able to not worry about whether or not you put it in the right person's inbox and really focus on getting the work done instead. And with that in mind, we're also looking to standardize the workflow. This is really important. The more people we talk to, they're, especially firms that as they're growing, they're looking for a way that they can do something in a standard way. How can I standardize my process across all my employees? Or how can I take something that works really well for one area of my business and apply that to another area as well? What can I do to standardize that? And Intuit Practice Management really shines in this regard, because we do allow you to have templates for all the different types of work. You can make minor adjustments as necessary for individual clients. It also makes it really easy to start up new work, or take that same concept of the way you're doing one area of your business and apply it to something else as well. So all of this kind of leads to increased productivity. It gives you a better reputation with your clients, and it can lead to greater profitability. And we really spent a lot of time looking at how we can solve these pain points and solve these jobs. And so the full title of Intuit Practice Management really is Intuit Practice Management powered by Carbon. We did partner with Carbon to bring this to our customers, and it's really, we took everything that they did. So Carbon's been around for a while. They have a really good handling on how this industry works and ways they can improve it. And we took everything they did and kind of added some extras to it. And that's what we got with IPM. And so we're really excited about what it does and the way it solves problems, because we think that it works really well for helping take the pain points of kind of managing communication, managing your work, and putting it in a way that works really well. Anything you want to add to that, Clayton?
No, I think, yeah, I was hoping that you would add, which partner we selected and why. And I think that was fairly clear. So want to jump to the first polling question here. And Emily, I'm having a challenge finding it. So here we go. We want to know for the people in the, watching this, attending today, are you using your email as your to-do list? So are you working out of your email? Do you have tasks that, do you have folders that you're working out of? Are you storing emails, flagging emails? Email management seems to be one of the challenges that firms face today. So trying to get an understanding of the people on this this call, are you using your email as your to-do list? And we'll give everyone a little bit of time here.
And this is something we see quite a bit. So I will not be surprised if a lot of people are saying yes. This tends to be something a lot of people do.
Okay. And I'll go ahead and close. We'll give everyone a little bit more time. We have some more answers coming in. So I'll go ahead and close it out, Jeremy. I think we have most people come in here, and it is showing we have a lot of people who are doing it, some that are not. So it's common, is what we typically see. But I'll go to the next one here, which is really talking about centralizing contacts, collaborating with your team in context with the work that's going on. So what I mean by that is everyone being on the same page, everything actually being centralized, and there being that single source of truth that you can rely on. And then collaboration with your team is actually improved because it's happening in the exact same place that work is getting done in that same software. So relying on one software to manage the email management, being the single source of truth, and allowing your team to collaborate with the integration for your email, and having it all centralized. And more on the single source of truth piece, data, as we mentioned earlier, is spread across multiple platforms. So someone in your firm is having to keep those updated, or should be keeping those updated. But in the conversations that we have, that person usually struggles with that. Things get dropped. There's some unnecessary data updates or redundancies that really can be avoided by having one software that is the single source of truth, and one place to manage those clients. So one area that a lot of firms that we talk to struggle with is really having a CRM, or a customer relationship management system, or really having their customers centralized. And this applies whether you're a 100% tax firm, or you are a multi-service, multi-location firm that offers a variety of services to a variety of clients. But just by having that in one location, all of those clients in one location, it really allows you and your team to not only provide the best user experience and customer experience, but really to manage those relationships throughout the entire customer journey or the customer lifecycle. So having the client notes there, having the client emails there, all the data, all the communication back and forth, seeing how your teams are communicating with the client, just vital to the end user experience, and making sure that you're keeping information up to date as well. Did I miss anything on that piece, Jeremy?
No, I think you hit it really well there, Clayton.
Cool. So I'll go to the next one, which is around email management. And we talked about this being a massive challenge for a lot of firms. And the common feedback here is firms are spending entirely too much time in their inbox. They're getting copied on way too many emails. They're CC'd on a lot of the emails going on in their firm. Their teams are using their inbox as a task list, just like a lot of people on this call are. And reading things once, marking them as unread, just to go back and reread it again. It's an inefficient way to manage your workflow, and an overwhelming way to manage your day. So results in rereading content, forwarding emails, copying colleagues on it, and it's really hard to manage your day-to-day. It's unproductive. Things can get lost that way. So by having your email embedded into the workflow and your email integrated with the software, it allows you to be a little bit more efficient with your day. I think one of the biggest advantages is it takes you out of that traditional email silo, and improves collaboration across the entire organization. You can create action from it. You can really stop wasting time in your email, and spend more time with your, focusing on your clients. And then to add here on the email piece, I have some screenshots, and we'll dive into this in the product, Jeremy, here in a little bit. But on the email piece alone, we talked about capacity being a challenge. That's one of the things that we want to solve for. Is firms are actually saving up to 4 hours a week alone on the email piece and the collaboration piece. So when you're not spending time, managing your inbox, you can be spending time on powering prosperity for your business, for your clients, growing your business, growing your staff, and scaling. And where you get this time back is emails are actioned. They can be assigned. They're automatically tracked to the client project or the client record, placed on the appropriate timeline, and then you can collaborate internally with your team with @mentions and comments as well. And we'll show that live here in a sec. So I don't think we've mentioned this, Jeremy, but this is a cloud-based application. We're talking about the future and having a product that's suited for the future and the Intuit ecosystem and our customer base. And we do have a mobile application, so you can access all of this information on the go. Pretty simple. A lot of people, this is a must-have in 2020, and I think it's only gonna. I don't think it's going back the way it was before. So you have access to that mobile application as well. And then just kind of to wrap up here is seeing the whole conversation, simply having access to the appropriate information so you guys can collaborate with your team, collaborate with the client, and do so as efficiently as possible. And then to wrap up, I know I've said collaborate a lot and collaborate in context, and that's one of the mottos with Intuit Practice Management is, summing it up here, it's about creating more efficiency, overall efficiency, and collaboration with your team, and giving you the visibility that you need to make those critical business decisions. And then having the appropriate integrations like the email, and we'll talk about the tax integration as well. But overall, just gaining the visibility that you need, your clients, your work streams, your due dates, and managing overall capacity. Anything else here, Jeremy?
No, I don't think so. You kind of hit it a little bit, but just with the integrations, I think that's also another really important piece is, it's not just integration with obviously the Intuit tax products that we're talking about, but there are additional integrations as well. And as it mentions on the slide there, through Zapier, you can integrate with any of the other applications that integrate through Zapier. And so it really opens up a lot of flexibility there. So if you are using something like MailChimp or something else for your email marketing, you can still have some level of integration with even those applications.
Yeah, super good call out. And then having the proposal software as well. A lot of our customers use engagement or proposal software. So having that practice ignition directly integrated, having your Go proposal integrated in creating projects that way is a pretty powerful feature.
Absolutely. And it really goes back to kind of like the automation piece of, you don't necessarily need to worry about checking something off is done, going to a different application, checking that it was started there, getting it ready to go. These integrations just let all of that happen for you, that as soon as a client accepts a proposal, it automatically creates the work in IPM for you, and you're ready to start going. So a lot of power there.
Gotcha. No, awesome. And with that, that's going to take us to our next polling question, which let me pull that and launch that. And for this one, we're really trying to understand and we're getting a little bit, and Jeremy, can you see the poll question? I want to make sure that was launched. Okay, I see people answering, yeah, so we're good. What degree of visibility do you have into your entire staff workflows? A lot of firms really struggle with getting complete or full visibility into due dates, statuses of the work, what their entire teams or departments are working on, where they're at with each project, each due date, and just delivering on time. So some firms use Excel, some firms work through the tax statuses within the tax software, and some have consistent meetings to find out where they're at, and some use practice management systems to get an understanding. So where are you at with having visibility into your firms? And the majority of people are actually within the 0 to 25%, and then pretty much equal with a few in the two middle categories. And then some firms actually have pretty good visibility into what's going on. So all across the board, with the highest one being at the 0 to the 25. So super, super common that we see across our customer base as well, and something that we're specifically trying to solve for to give firms the visibility that they need. And with that, we'll jump right into visibility and capacity. And really, this is kind of the last section that we'll be spending our time in improving visibility across your firms. A lot of firms do not have this today, as we see in the poll, where they're at with the client, the job, where their staff is spending their time, and understanding their capacity based on real, actual data, right? And in the same database that work's getting done. So by ensuring that work is delivered on target and knowing where all of your job stands, or just having the insight, the visibility into that, your teams, your departments, it makes it much easier to align on the goals of the organization. It allows you to adjust the key priorities, and then give you the confidence as the owner, partner, manager, that things are not falling through the cracks, and you get insight into that prior to them falling behind. So managing due dates, all of your deliverables, and as well as your team output, because you have that real-time access to the data. We've talked about how important client management is, and having visibility across all of those communications, and having all of that accessible and correspondence at your fingertips, but also having a global search bar to find those clients. That, when they call in, you and your staff can quickly understand where you're at with each one of those relationships. And then lastly, we'll talk about capacity planning and how important that is to get a hold of it. And this is really the view that we'll dive into in the product, but this is our Kanban view that talks about visibility, and it's gives you a visual snapshot, like a big picture at a glance of everything going on across your team, simplifying the capacity planning piece, giving you the bird's eye view of what's going on, what staff's working on, and then allowing you to make those critical business decisions based on the actual data. And I think most importantly, getting ahead of any bottlenecks or potential bottlenecks before it's too late. So simply create customized dashboards that show you what you need to see, get visibility in what you want to have visibility into, and run those customized reports or views, so you can get a quick view and snapshot of what's going on. Make sure that you're not falling behind. I summed that up okay, Jeremy?
No, I think that was great, and we'll definitely be spending some more time on this page in product, and so we can touch on anything else there if we think about it.
Cool. And then tax integration, we talked about integrations and all the different ones, and one of the direct ones we have for our Lacert and ProConnect tax customers is having that bidirectional sync with your tax software. So contact data, not having to change it across multiple platforms, only needing to be changed once. It's all of your tax returns are already mapped to the appropriate work items. You're not having to do a whole bunch of bulk work creation, but then giving you the visibility across the different statuses going on. A lot of firms work off of their tax status, and that's how they know when things are going to be assigned to them or where it's at in the process. So not only can you run the reports on that, but also within each work item, understanding where you're at with those statuses, the tax statuses, the e-file statuses, and then if you're leveraging e-signature, which is our powered by DocuSign to collect all of your 8879s and signatures after the fact, which I guess in 2020 pretty much everyone's adopted that technology. It's the new normal, but just giving you the visibility in the same software that's your single source of truth for everything else. You have those options as well. And this is the last, I think the last screenshot that I have before we jump, Jeremy, is understanding and getting ahead of client profitability and really understanding your staff utilization. And it includes, managing your budgets and tracking the budget against the actual, and having timesheets and analysis in the same place as everything else that we've already talked about, just allowing firms to be more profitable and really understand their current profitability and where they need to make critical adjustments. So identifying their most effective clients, identifying their most effective staff members, I guess, and lots of good stuff on giving you insight and visibility into what's going on, where your team's spending their billable time versus their non-billable time, and who your customers, what your customers are doing for you, and if you're at budget or over budget or trending over budget and things like that. Before I go to the next slide, Jeremy, is there anything I missed on the profitability piece of this?
I don't think so. When we look in the product, we can dive into some of the specifics of how you see some of those items. So I think we can just take a look at it then. You definitely gave a great overview there.
Okay, and then I guess we have one more slide. We've talked about some of the key features, functionality of the software. We have not hit on every aspect of Intuit Practice Management. We're actually doing another session that talks about kind of the other half of standard operating procedures and processes and workflow automation and automation in general. But firms who are fully utilizing the technology to its full capabilities are actually able to save up to 10 hours a week, per employee. So massive time saving. And it goes back to the first common industry challenge that we talked about, which is firms are over capacity. So we're giving them the time back that they don't currently have today. So with that, Jeremy, I think we can go to, and I'll let you screen share. I don't know if I need to stop first or if you can take it over.
Nope, I'm just going to take it over here. Alrighty, so we should be looking at contacts and Intuit Practice Management.
I see you. Yep.
Perfect. Alrighty, so we wanted to start here just on the concept of that contact centralization. We have all of your contacts in one place here, and you can see on this page there's some pertinent information that is visible here without even having to get into the contact, and these are all synced with our tax products. So this, in this case, Intuit Pro Connect. And it's real-time updates between the two. If I update someone's email in one spot, it's going to update in the other. If I create a new contact in one place, it can create it in the other. And it really helps keep everything in sync. I also mentioned that there's the Zapier integration. So if you have something else that you're using that you need to keep your contacts in sync there as well, you can connect it up through that and keep your contacts in sync across multiple applications and really have that information flowing well together and just remove one of those pieces of having to update things manually. But we did want to start here just because, again, this is kind of your central location of all of your contacts. You're able to see, pertinent information as well as like what work do they have that's in progress, what do they have planned, that sort of thing. So we find this is a good starting point for kind of looking at your different clients or colleagues. From there, I'm actually going to go to the work tab and take a look at the Kanban board. And this really is a great place to be if you're interested in looking for that visibility. There's a lot of different ways you can move things around on here and filter on here and look at different information. And so we're going to take a look at a few of those, but this view is great for that. Right now, I am looking at a filter I have saved that's the team due this month. And this is going to show me all of my different team members, what they have due this month. And I can see pretty easily how many pieces of work they have, I have some abilities to turn on some additional information, like the column totals here, and I can see up at the top, very easily how many hours do they have budgeted. So in terms of visibility, this is really great for showing me a lot of different pieces of information, including kind of like I said, that capacity piece. So you can see on here pretty quickly that Clayton has 30 work items due in the month of December, and quite a bit, over 70 hours of budgeted time there. Brady, on the other hand, has 3 items that are due in the month of December with only 14 hours of budget. So I actually could look at this and say, you know what, for ABC manufacturing, I'm just going to click and drag and drop and put that over to Brady. I'm going to reassign all of my tasks there. And just like that, I can manage capacity very easily. You can just drag and drop cards, and it really gives you a lot of flexibility to work with the work on top of just being able to see it. I mentioned I had a save view up here. Team due this month, you can actually do a lot of different save views. So out of the box, we give you just some very basic ones around work that's for you or for different statuses. But depending on what views you're going to need, you can actually filter this or organize it in a lot of different ways. You might be looking for just people on your team. You might be looking for different statuses or different types of work. One of the things I have here is my 1040 work by status. So I can come here, and this filter is going to give me all of my different 1040s, and it's going to organize it for me by the status of that work item. And so I can very easily see what's been planned, what's ready to start, and all the different statuses I have across those different work items. And it's really useful. One of the things that we like to show off here, kind of with that capacity mindset or with that budgeted mindset, is I have things filtered here called trending over budget. And when I pull this up, I'm actually able to see different work items that are task complete under 25% and budget used over 50%. So if I've got a work item out here and it's in 8 hours of the budget is, my expected work there, and I'm already sitting at 5 hours of that's completed, but I've only checked off, 2 of the 10 tasks, then it's going to show up here, and I can see pretty easily that, you know what, I've got something due this month that is probably going to be over budget. What can I do to try to remedy that? Does the person need some additional help? Is there some other blocker that's happening there that I can step in? But this gives me a really easy way to take a look at what's happening right now. Where do I need to focus? And lets me get a lot of visibility into what's going on. What's great from here as well is I can just click on one of these cards and go straight to that work item. So not only do I have visibility of what's happening at the work item across all my work items here, I can very easily drill into a specific work item and find out what's going on with it.
Yeah, and just to add on that one, Jeremy, I mean, most all the firms that we talk to when we ask the question of how do you know when you're, or when do you know when you're over budget? And usually it's like when it's time to bill the client, right? So getting ahead of that before the fact, and if it is an internal training issue, or maybe the budget was off to begin with, you know that up front, you can standardize it, get the training that they need, or you find out that your client is the one that's the potential challenge there, right? And the budget's not appropriate on that side. But yeah, a high level view here, and the save views are really creating whatever view makes sense for the work that you need visibility, the teams that you need visibility into, the types of service that you need visibility into. And it doesn't have to be tax focused. It can be bookkeeping or accounting or any service that you might offer. Just giving you those quick snapshots that you need, save those views. And then when you want to drill down into them, you just click it, one of those, and it takes you to the actual work item specifically.
No, that's a great call out there, Clayton. And that is something that we do hear quite a bit is, firms learning when they're over budget way too late in the process, and they could have done something about it if they had known earlier. And this really does give that visibility and view into what is going on, so you can step in if you need to. We've mentioned the save views a couple times, and it's actually really easy to create these. Once you have kind of a filter that you want, you can save it, or you can rename one, and you can really have a lot of flexibility there. Speaking of that, you can see I have quite a bit of information showing here on these cards. If you want a lot less, you have that option. So you can actually really have flexibility in what you show. And you can see here I'm turning some of these off, and my cards kind of shrink as I do that. And so you can view as little or as much information as you need here. In some views, it might make more sense to have some items displayed, and in other views, it might make sense to have them not displayed. And you get that flexibility. So if I were to save my view now, it's going to update this with what I just checked off, and really give me whatever customizations I need on how I'm looking at this. I also mentioned you can kind of change what you're showing. We also have a lot of filters. So you can filter based on who it is, the budget. I have here my work type is my bookkeeping work type, so I'm only looking at bookkeeping. So that's another filter option. That's also how we set up the filters to show me if I'm trending over budget. I can have task completion over or under a certain % of the tasks are complete. So there's a lot of flexibility there as well on that filtering. One other note there on that filter, we are connected to the tax product. So with Intuit Practice Management, it does integrate with ProConnect Tax or Lacert. I'm connected to ProConnect here, and you can see I actually have a tax return status as an option on my filter here. And this is going to give me all of those custom return statuses I'm using in ProConnect. They're going to show up here as filter options. So if I have different statuses that I care about that are specific to the tax return, don't necessarily apply to my work item overall, I still have not only visibility into those on the work item, but I have the ability to filter on those as well. And that really gives that extra level of being able to filter out what's important to you and looking into only the information you care about. Another thing on here, we're looking at this in the Kanban board view, and this is definitely useful for some types of information, and it can be really helpful. I showed you I could drag and drop from one column to another, but this isn't always going to be the best thing. And so you do actually have the option of viewing this as a list as well. So you can view it as a Kanban or as a list, and it's going to be that same information, but just in the list view. And this can certainly be really helpful for other types of information you're trying to get to, or if you don't like the cards and you're just more comfortable with the list view, you have this option as well. And so we do try to give you some flexibility there. And a lot of places throughout the product, you can also download this if you wanted to look at it in a different format or a different application. You have the ability to get the data out of the system pretty easily, so you can do that. So we're really trying to make this easy for our customers to have visibility into what they're trying to see, get that information, and drill into it where they need to. Anything to add on here, Clayton? You're on mute, it looks like.
That helps. I was trying to answer some of these questions, so sorry about that. I think it's just really narrowing down the search that makes sense for what you want. We're not giving you generic views or dashboards and creating them for you. We're allowing, since every firm's different and every owner, partner, senior, junior staff needs visibility into different things, it's about giving you the option to create the view that makes sense for you, your customers, your workflow, your engagements, your due dates, and then save those to what makes sense.
Absolutely. Alrighty. So the next thing I want to look at is, we talked about getting to things. There's this universal search within the application, and this can be really handy. I can search across everything from here. So contacts, work items, old emails, things like that, they're all searchable through here. So I'm going to go find a specific person. I'm going to look at Tammy here. And so I just start typing something into that search. It brings up all of the appropriate responses, and I can come in here and start looking at it. With that in mind, I can pull up Tammy, and there's a few different tabs here. And these are very similar between the work item and the contact, this timeline view. This is everything that has to do with this contact. So you can see that there's been emails that Tammy has sent in. There's some internal communication going on here. These things in blue, you can see where I've asked Clayton something or I've told Clayton something. I've added a comment here and let Victor know that Tammy's interested in our quarterly advisory package. So this is really just a great place where anyone can come to that has visibility into Tammy's contact information. They can come here and they can see everything about Tammy. They can know what's been happening. If I'm managing the client, but I'm out, Clayton can come in here and take a look at the timeline and very easily see where was the last thing left off, what's going on, what's happening with Tammy, what has she asked, everything like that. Not only that can I see on the timeline here, I also have the visibility into all of the work. So I can see everything that we have going on right now for Tammy. The different work items that are open. I can look for completed work. I can see any of the budget that I have in terms of hours or cost on what we're expecting to bring in, and then hours, how many hours I'm expecting to spend on this work. I also have on the details, you'll notice that Tammy did send some emails. Any of those emails that come in, if there's attachments, they can get picked up and they are visible here on my recent documents. So I can pretty easily come to Tammy's page and see any of the attachments that she may have emailed me, or I can upload information that's pertinent to Tammy and put it here as well. So there's a lot of really good information that you have here on the different contacts that goes beyond just the simple contact information. But again, it really is around that visibility into what's happening, making sure that it's easy for someone to come in here and understand what's happening with this person. All right, on the concept of kind of that time and budgeting, I'm gonna pop over here real quick and show you colleague utilization. Now, being able to track time and kind of budgeted amounts at this level is fairly new in Intuit Practice Management. It was just released fairly recently here. And so it's only a couple months old, but it's been really powerful. And excuse me, you can see here, let me change my filter to last month because we're only on day 1 of December. So there's not going to be much information there. But you can come in here and I have this colleague utilization view and I can see all of my different colleagues. What was the time? What's their capacity? How much billable time did they log? How much non-billable? And then the total. This is also going to give me the billable amount. So any of the dollar value associated with any of that work they completed, as well as the utilization number. So it's pretty easy to come in here and see, I only had 5, a little under 6% utilization last month, whereas Ben was over 100%. So Ben is just killing it, and I really need to pick up the pace is really my takeaway here. But not only do you get to see from people, you also get to see what were they doing. So I can come in here and see the work items, the contacts that the work was for, as well as the specifics on what that particular piece of work was in terms of the hours and the money. So a lot of really good visibility in here around what are people doing. And this gives across my entire team all of this information, very easy for me to find and drill into. And again, I can export this if I need to use it in some other application, or if I just want to put it into Excel and play with it there because I'm an accountant and I love Excel. And so I want to do that. We give you that option here as well. On the concept of time, I did want to show one other thing. If I'm doing time entry, I can come in here and see what my time entry was. So for me specifically, the time period, what my time was. And then you can see the different days that I've had stuff. One of the features that it has that I think is really great is the ability to have suggested time entries. So if I went in and did some work on a work item and I checked off some tasks, but I didn't log any time there, when I come to my timesheet, I can see it has these suggested time entries. So I completed tasks for Krista Miller's 1040, and it's letting me know that. So I can very easily add time. So this goes back to that concept of nothing slipping through the cracks. If I'm coming in here to add my time every day or at the end of the week, I'm not going to wonder, did I do something? Did I add something to someone's work item and then forget to add time there? It's going to let me know. And I find this to be an amazingly helpful feature, because it is very, very common for people just to go and do something and then not necessarily remember to add time on it, or just, it was a busy day and you totally forgot you spent an hour doing something for someone. This is going to let you know that you're not going to miss that. It's really going to add to that visibility there.
And Jeremy, just to add there, we got some questions coming in around time, and are you tracking time from Intuit Practice Management, or is it coming from something like T-Sheets? So it's bi-directional, right? If you like T-Sheets and you're using maybe the start and stop clock, and you want to continue doing that, you always have some firms that are happy using T-Sheets, or you can do it directly in Intuit Practice Management, but it's going to happen in both places. You'll be able to see that time in both areas. And the thing that you're talking about right now, Jeremy, is I see it as really a safety net. A lot of firms tell us, and it's a common theme, that they're missing a couple hours a week on billable time just by people forgetting to do it, forgetting to type it in. So this saves you from that, as, hey, if you did forget, which is going to happen eventually, no matter how diligent you are, this is going to remind you, hey, you probably should track time, or at least review it here.
Absolutely. No, exactly. I mean, this really is the safety net. If you consider, if you have 1 or 2 employees who miss an hour or so a week, that's really going to add up at the end of the year, and it can be quite substantial. And good point on the T-Sheets piece. This particular account is integrated with T-Sheets, and so this would flow into T-Sheets. You don't have to use T-Sheets if you wanted to track time via Intuit Practice Management anymore, though. But like Clayton said, it is bi-directional if you are, so you can add time in either place and it'll show up here. I'm gonna pop over to my triage. Triage is really where any of the incoming email that you're going to deal with comes in. So Intuit Practice Management sits on top of your email, and anything that shows up in your inbox is going to come in here, and you're able to do stuff with it. What I mean by that is, from here, I can just respond to this like a normal email. I can add it to work. I can add it to someone else to do something with. In this particular case, you can see here, because everything is logged, yesterday I assigned Clayton a to-do item to follow up with this, and I changed it ready to start. So just when I assigned it to Clayton, it did all of that for me. I also have the ability to comment on here. So I can actually comment at Clayton and add that here. And this is really useful because this is in line with the email, but Tammy doesn't see it. So I can have back and forth communication with my internal colleague around an email and not have to worry about forwarding it. And I don't have to worry about BCCing someone or CCing someone and trying to make sure that I'm getting the right person. I get all of this back and forth internal communication is kept with the email, but it's kept separate. So once Clayton emails me or responds to my comment, I can respond to Tammy via email and use that information there. So this is, again, a really good way of kind of bringing that collaboration and the idea of like centralizing your communication with the contact and with your internal team into one spot. Anything to add on that, Clayton?
No, I think it's, I was answering questions over here, Jeremy, but I don't know if we had some questions coming in about actually getting emails from one person to the other and how that happens. So rather than CCing or forwarding, I guess it would be quickly assigning it, right?
Absolutely. So Yeah, Tammy sent this to me, but I assigned it to you. And let me open a new email real quick and show you how that works. I can actually say add to work or add to contact or assign to me or assign to a colleague. So if I do assign to colleague, I have Clayton, I can set it to due date. So maybe this is something that needs to be done today. Maybe it's something that we need to take care of next week. But I have that option. I can also add a comment on here and then I can assign it. And now what I actually have two options. You saw there I had assign and clear or assign. I just assigned this to Clayton and took care of it that way. But it's still sitting here in my triage. I don't necessarily have to do that. I can actually clear this from my triage. And what that does is it removes it from my triage, but it's not gone. It's still sitting there in Clayton's to-do list. And so in a second, I'll go to to-do and I'll show you, you can see where all of those to-dos will show up. But just because I cleared it from my triage doesn't mean it's gone for good. It just means I've done what I need to. Now it's sitting with Clayton, but I still have the opportunity to go look and see what the status of that is, even though I've cleared it out of my triage. One last thing here to hit on, you can see here, there's this 22 colleagues that can see this email. This is because I've chosen to share it. So again, on that visibility piece, everyone here has visibility into this email and what's going on because they have access to Tammy's timeline. If I come down here and look at Mike, you can see I'm the only one. So until I share this email, it's not going to be public to other people. So you do have the option of making the communication very visible. And like I said earlier, it makes it easy that if I need to go away and someone needs to come in and see what's happening, they have that visibility. But it's not necessarily going to be like that unless you want it to be. So you do have a lot of flexibility there on how you're handling the communication. The last thing I want to look at here is the to-do list I mentioned. And this is really where you come to to-do and understand, well, what is it I need to work on? You can see here my things that are overdue or things that have started. I have 20 things for today. That means that it was started today or due today. And that gives me a really easy way of seeing what is it that I need to worry about right now. And go back up here. This is currently my to-do list. I mentioned I can also see colleagues, or I can look at to-dos assigned by me. So this is really great because if I look at that, I can find out, well, what did I assign to someone? And you can see here, this is something due today. I assign this to someone else. It gives me really good visibility into following up with things. You know, I assigned that email to Clayton, but I can come in here and take a look at it and see, did Clayton do it? Do I need to ask him about it? If I do need to make comments here, I can comment and specifically go in here and ask Ben a question and be able to really have the visibility in things and collaboration. I know we've talked about visibility a lot, but that really does highlight, there's a lot of different ways that Intuit Practice Management really helps you gain visibility into what's going on with your work, with your colleagues' work, and everything around your firm as it pertains to kind of that communication and the different work. Anything else to add kind of before I wrap things up, Clayton?
No, just touching that ProConnect tab right there. That's, we're importing all of your, we had some questions about integration there, and we're importing all of your clients from your tax software. We can help you get some other contacts in there as well. We're tying all of those tax returns to the appropriate work item. So you're not having to do that work creation up front, and then having that bi-directional contact sync, so things are in sync across both platforms, and then you being able to see all of the statuses going on from tax software to Intuit Practice Management, and able to run those customized reports or see them individually on the work item.
Absolutely. And yeah, and that's really great. And one of the, just real quick to wrap up on the integration piece, you see here, if I'm integrated with ProConnect, I can open ProConnect from here, as well as if I'm on a tax return or a client, I can actually click a link and go straight to that client in ProConnect or straight to that tax return in ProConnect. So again, just with that, making things easier to navigate in between different applications. And so real quick, just to wrap up here, again, going through these triage, this is where I manage everything that comes in. It's where I'm managing my email. It's where I'm managing my communication around the different email and things like that. My to-do list, this is where I go to find out what is it that I need to do right now? What is it I need to do next? What's coming up right away? Not necessarily like all of my work, but just what's important for today and the immediate future. My work tab is where I go to see visibility across a broader spectrum. So if I want to do capacity planning, or if I want to look at everything that's going on for a particular type of work, especially across an entire team, I can come to my work tab to do that. Contacts is going to be where all of my contacts live. This is both internal and external contacts. This is where I can get a lot of information around contacts. I can drill into one and find out everything going on with that client. And then my time entry, time is where I can enter my time to review it, as well as highlighting my different utilization across my team and have visibility into what's going on there. Clayton, I'm going to turn it back over to you unless there's anything else you wanted to add here.
No, I think that's really good, Jeremy. I know there's a lot to show, and that's not even covering all the aspects of it. So thanks for that. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back here. As we talk about the visibility aspect and the time savings, just something to think about in your firm and your goals and your customers and your staff, being able to get that time back. What would that be able to do for your firm? And even make it, just the email and collaboration piece alone, be a little bit more conservative here and say, what could you do with an extra 4 hours a week per employee? So something to think about there. And due to time, since we're over here, I want to launch the last poll to see if we need to. I want to make sure that we reach out to the people who are interested in learning, getting some more information on Intuit Practice Management. I know we have a lot of questions coming in right now, so give everyone some time here so we can reach out. So I know that we have potentially some customers on here as well. So thank you for your current business, for the people who have onboarded. But would you like to learn more about Intuit Practice Management? We did not talk about standard operating procedures and the templates that come with Intuit Practice Management, and the automation aspect as well. So that will be our next session, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's a lot of exciting stuff. So yeah, that's the next one we're going to do, and it should be really good to see.
Cool. I know we have 2 more questions or answers coming in. I'm going to go ahead and end this polling in about 5 seconds. And here we go. And so there's some customers and there's some interest across the board. I hope this session was helpful for everyone. I appreciate being a part of this. Emily, Jeremy, thanks for your time. Love getting to do these things with you as well. But thanks for listening to us for an hour on strategies, and hope everyone can join us on our next session around standardization and automation and leveraging that through the software as well.
It's great to be here. Thank you again, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Clayton and Jeremy. Everyone, in the follow-up email, I will get you the recording and handout, and I'll also link the registration to the next webinar, which is going to be December 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we look forward to seeing you then. You're welcome. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.